Okay, so we are discussing about the Indian English literature, giving more focus upon the non-fictional writings. So we have already covered pre-independent prose, and now we are moving forward to the post-independence prose. After independence, the political struggle no longer engaged the attention of writers. So, as we had already discussed, no writer can write in vacuum, right? So whenever a writer write, he often write according to that situation. So before the independence, writers usually wrote with the background of all the freedom struggle and all such thing. But after independence, the political struggle no longer engaged the attention of writers. This facilitated the growth of lighter writing. So that's a great statement. I'll explain it further. After India's independence in 1947, the focus of writers changed. Earlier, during the freedom struggle, literature was serious and political, dealing with the nationalism and resistance. After independence, that urgency reduced, so writers began to explore lighter themes like everyday life, relationships, humor, personal experiences, and social issues in a less intense way. Facilitated the growth of lighter writing means it become easier for writers to write in a more relaxed, creative, and less political style. Okay, less political style. Both before and after independence, Indians wrote scholarly books in the field of history, economics, religion, and philosophy. So, both before and after independence, Indians wrote scholarly books in the field of history, economics, religion, and philosophy. The most famous writer in the field of Indian philosophy and religion was S. Radhakrishnan, and you are familiar with the name, right? Yeah, later he rose to the president of India. So the most famous writer in the field of Indian philosophy and religion was S. Radhakrishnan from 1888 to 1975. He taught philosophy at leading universities in India and abroad. He taught philosophy at leading universities in India and abroad and rose to the president of India. He was a prolific writer. He was whom? He was a prolific writer. What do you mean by prolific? The pronunciation is a prolific, meaning producing a large amount of work, especially in writing or art. So he was a prolific writer. Who was a prolific writer? S. Radhakrishnan, whose works include Indian Philosophy in two volumes, 1923, 1927, The Hindu View of Life, that is 1926, and the Principal Upanishads, all written by Sir S. Radhakrishnan. Kushwant Singh, next person, Kushwant Singh, better known as a novelist and journalist. Kushwant Singh, better known as a novelist and journalist, has the credit of writing the standard scholarly work on his community. So Kushwant Singh has the credit of writing the standard scholarly work on his community. What was that? A history of the Sikhs. What was that? A history of the Sikhs, published in two volumes, 1963 and 1966. Much significant literary criticism has appeared in the last 4 decades, covering studies of individual authors and works as well as theoretical studies like Krishna Raya and Sahitya, a theory. The leading critics in the field of Indian English literature are K.R. Srinivasa Iyengar, C.D. Narasimhaya, and M.K. Saik. Meenakshi Mukherjee is another important critic, whose The Twice Born fiction is devoted to Indian English fiction. In realism and reality, she, that means Meenakshi Mukherjee, studies the growth of the novel in Indian languages. More than 30 books of non-fiction prose appear every year in the field of Indian English literature. So these quotations can be quoted on the examination. More than 30 books of, so you have to refer the old question paper. Okay, after studying these portions, please refer the old question paper so you will get a better idea of how the questions will be asked. More than 30 books of non-fiction prose appear every year in the field of Indian English literature. They include biographies, that means somebody writing about somebody else's life, autobiographies, their own story, travelogues, historical and cultural studies, and social criticism. Neeraj C. Chowdhury, this is an important person. Neeraj C. Chowdhury has written books of all these types. The Autobiography of an Unknown Indian, 1951, is his most famous work. The autobiographical mode continues in its sequel. Thy Hand, Great Anarch, it's been published in 1897. His second book, A Passage to England, is a travelogue. Keep the name Neeraj S. C. Chowdhury. His books on history, culture, religion, and Indian society include The Continent of Circe, 1966, The Intellectual in India, 1967, Hinduism, A Religion to Live By, 1979, and Three Horsemen of the New Apocalypse, 1997. Biographies include Scholar Extraordinary. Biographies include Scholar Extraordinary, The Life of Max Muller, which won the Sahitya Akademi Award, the Clive of India. He reveled, that means he took great pleasure. He reveled in provoking controversy. So keep this name, Neeraj C. Chowdhury. He provoked controversies. His first book was dedicated to the memory of the British Empire. Unlike other authors, he provoked controversies, and his first book was dedicated to the Chowdhury's first book was dedicated to the British Empire. Neeraj C. Chowdhury's first book was dedicated to the British Empire because all that was good and living within us was made, shaped, and cooked by British rule. So he gave a lot of importance to the British rule. He denounced India as the continent of Circe. Let's see what is that. Circe is a character from Greek mythology who bewitched people and turned them into animals. By calling India the continent of Circe, Chowdhury suggests that India has a tendency to weaken, mislead, or degrade people instead of uplifting them. It is a strong and critical statement about Indian society, expressing his view that it can have a negative or corrupting influence on individuals. So he says a land where the original energetic Aryans had been turned to slothful pigs by the climate. So he believed about the Aryan invasion to India, and he say because of the climate they have become slothful pigs. Most readers are irritated by this human gadfly. Gadfly means a person who provokes or criticize others to bring change or stir action. So people were not happy about him, full of his own importance. His long, complex sentences, full of learned allusions. Allusions means indirect references to a person, event, or ideas. And difficult words were not readable. But much of his criticism of Indian society is based on fact, and his books cannot be ignored by any serious student of Indian literature. Though there is so much controversy, we cannot ignore his we cannot ignore his books. Neeraj Chowdhury's writer of the post-independence era who resembles Chowdhury in dedicating himself to non-fictional writing is Ved Mehta, author of 18 books, of which just one, Delinquent Chacha, is a novel. So, a writer of the post-independence era who resembles Chowdhury in dedicating himself to non-fictional writing is whom? Ved Mehta. And he is the author of 18 books, of which just one, Delinquent Chacha, is a novel. Born in Lahore in 1934, he became blind. Ved Mehta became blind at the age of 4. He was educated at a special school for the blind at Bombay. When he was 15 years old, he went to America to study at the Arkansas School for the Blind. So at the age of 15, he went to America and he joined at a school called Arkansas School for the Blind. He went to college in the United States and Britain, obtaining a BA degree from Oxford University and MA from Harvard. So it was not easy like today to receive a BA or a MA, very difficult. So he could obtain a BA and it's from the Oxford University and an MA from Harvard. He has been MacArthur Fellow. What does that mean? A person who has been awarded a special membership honor or grant by an institution for their excellence or achievements. Here, MacArthur Fellow is someone who receives a prestigious award for outstanding work. And he was also a visiting fellow at Balliol College. Undeterred. Undeterred means not discouraged, undeterred by blindness, he joined the staff of the New Yorker in 1961, and much of his work first appeared in it. His first book, Face to Face, in 1957 is autobiographical. His non-fiction includes a travelogue. Travelogue means a written or spoken account of a person's travel experience. Walking the Indian Streets, 1961. The Fly and the Fly Bottle, 1963. Based on interviews with British intellectuals and the New Theology, 1966, an attempt to evaluate the ideas of Christian theologians coping with the secular world, John is Easy to Please, 1971, contains some of his best essays of literary criticism. He is now at work on an autobiographical series to which he has given the name Continents of Exile. The first 5 volumes, Dadi Ji, 1972, Mama Ji, 1979, Vedi, 1982, The Ledge Between the Streams, 1984, and Sound Shadows of the New World, 1986, describe his family and childhood and his coming to terms with life in Arkansas. The Stolen Light, 1989, describes his experiences at Pomona College in California and his attempts to move on equal terms with his slighted college fellows. 32 years separate The Stolen Light from his first autobiographical book. So 32 years separate The Stolen Light from his first autobiographical book. Face to Face. But Ved Mehta has grown and matured in terms of style and character in these decades. So his writing style got changed, quite unlike Neeraj C. Chowdhury. So for Neeraj C. Chowdhury, his style didn't change much. But for Ved Mehta, his style changed a lot. Who reveals no change in the 36 years which separate the 2 volumes of his autobiography. His first book avoided mentioning his disability, but later, now he states it plainly, I have been blind from the age of 4 as a result of meningitis. An early book, Walking in the Indian Streets, frequently indulged in visual details such as the color of a person's clothes. The Stolen Light is based on felt experience, and his prose conveys it beautifully as in his descriptions of the new students' initiation of the Pomona College. See how he has written. The air was fresh with the scent of eucalyptus, which made me think of childhood colds back home in India, and the eucalyptus leaves crushed in a handkerchief which my mother would press against my nose. No matter how stuffed up my head was, it seemed it could always smell the pungent, overpowering fragrance of eucalyptus. So pungent means having a strong, sharp smell. In spite of being an autobiography, Ved Mehta's later work is not one-sided. We get a complete picture of the narrator, his good as well as bad qualities. The streak, that means a long, thin line or mark, or a continuous series of selfishness present in Ved Mehta's love affairs and friendships at college is revealed. So he also talk about himself, his own personal love affairs and everything is being spoken there. Many persons better known in other walks of life have written their memoirs. We are talking about different people. So memoirs means a written account of person's own life and experiences, especially focusing on important events. Such books present fresh glimpses of less important facets means different aspects of life in India. Sheila Das, here is someone I would like you to meet, contains entertaining anecdotes. Anecdotes means short, interesting, and often amusing stories of musicians. While Musa Raza of Nawabs and Nightingales in 1995 gives us insights into the life of the IAS officer posted in a small town. R.K. Lakshman, India's best cartoonist, you know him, right, has published his autobiography, The Tunnel of Time, in 1998. Many established novelists have published their autobiographies. Nayanthara Sahgal's Prison and Chocolate Cake, 1954, which appeared before her novels, was followed by From Fear Set Free, 1962. R.K. Narayan has written My Days in 1975, while Ruskin Bond's autobiographical works have the title Scenes from a Writer's Life, a Memoir, 1975. And The Lamp is Lit, Leaves from a Journal, 1998. P. Lal, the poet and translator, has written about his near-death experience in Lessons, 1991. C.D. Narasimhaya, the literary critic who had done a lot to promote the study of Indian English literature, calls his autobiography N for Nobody. Autobiography of an English Teacher, 1991. Manohar Malgonkar, the novelist, has written biographies of figures in Indian history such as Kanhoji Angre, Maratha Admiral, 1959, and Chhatrapati of Kolhapur, 1971. So these all are different writers. The last 50 years has seen the publication of a large number of autobiographies and biographies. One biography which won the Sahitya Academy Award in 1976 is S. Gopal's Jawaharlal Nehru. Sarvepalli Gopal, 1923, is a distinguished historian. After working as director of the historical division of the Ministry of External Affairs of the Government of India, 1954 to 1966, he went back to teaching at universities like Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi and Oxford. His biography of his father, S. Radhakrishnan, who was President of India, is remarkable for its candid portrayal. It's beautifully portrayed. Professor Gopal makes no attempt to cover up anything. That's one of the good things of a good author, right? Not even regarding the marital life of his distinguished father. Jawaharlal Nehru, a biography, 2 volumes, 1976-1979, is considered the definitive work in the field. Gopal's work, as befits a scholar, is loaded with facts and references, duly footnoted. But he is involved in his subject and does not hesitate to use strong language. He admires Nehru but points out the flaws in his style of functioning. Though he admires Nehru, but he is pointing out his flaws in the style of functioning. Nehru had implied faith in his personal assistant, and his personal assistant's name is Yemo Matai. Unfortunately, he was not the faithful retainer as Nehru thought, but disloyal, avaricious, and opportunistic. Let's see what all are the words means. So Nehru had a great faith upon his personal assistant, M.O. Mathai, but he was not the faithful retainer. Means he was not. Retainer means a person who is employed to serve or assist someone, especially a noble or important person. But disloyal, he was not faithful. Then avaricious. Avaricious means avaricious, meaning extremely greedy, especially for money. Opportunistic, taking advantage of situation. Gopal does not have the dry, dispassionate style one associates with a historian. So Gopal condemns Mathai in complex prose. which is full of adjectives. So he condemns Mathai, which is full in his complex prose. He points out that Nehru alone was not to be blamed. The the pusillanimity, lack of courage, extreme timidity of others had a big role in puffing up, means exaggerating Mathai. Now, see what he has written. Unknown to Nehru, Mathai's irregular activities were generally accepted, and his influence either sought or feared Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi encouraged him beyond normal limits. Vijay Lakshmi Pandit addressed him as Deputy Prime Minister. Rajagopal Achari told Mathai that he looked on him as a son. Padmaja Naidu regularly sent him affectionate birthday greetings, and even the Mountbattens, who should have known better, fussed over him, gave him more promotion. Thus, an illiterate upstart had succeeded in making Nehru the victim of his own isolation and had revived in Delhi the atmosphere of a decadent quarter. This line is a strong criticism associated with Neeraj C. Chowdhury about the situation around Nehru and his aide M.O. Mathai. Illiterate upstart means a person of humble background, seen as unrefined or unqualified, a criticism aimed at Mathai. Nehru, the victim of his own isolation. Nehru became cut off from others, depending too much on a few close aides. Decadent court compares Delhi's political environment to a corrupt royal court full of flattery and unhealthy influence. So Chowdhury is criticizing that an unworthy person gained influence over Nehru, and because Nehru was somewhat isolated, that this led to a decline in the quality and integrity of the political environment around him. Okay, that's enough for today. Keep reading, and don't worry that if you are not being able to follow everything, just keep reading, keep moving, and study the questions, and that will be enough. You will get a better knowledge, and in the exam you will be able to do really well.